The courtroom is still. All eyes turn to Christine Brown as she stands, a sheaf of papers quivering ever so slightly in her grasp. For years, the sister wives' family was dogged by whispers of fraud and betrayal. But today, in the harsh glare of fluorescent lights and the seriousness of sworn testimony, the truth is about to blow wide open. The judge leans forward, voice unshakable and firm. This evidence confirms a $67 million fraud scandal. And in that moment, all the Browns believed about loyalty, money, and family is brought to rubble. If you were in that courtroom, would you think Christine's secret, or would you think Kody is innocent? Let me know in the comments before we hear more on this explosive tale. From the outside, Flagstaff's courthouse is unassuming, brick walls echoing down corridors, the faint scent of stale coffee and wood polish. Inside, though, the air is almost thick enough to cut. This is not just another trial. This is a public disintegration of a family once hailed as unified, but now splintered by secrets that are too big to be left hidden. Christine Brown sits on the witness stand, her back straight but her eyes ablaze with resolve. For years she was characterized as the wife who gave up on polygamy, the wife who left, but today she's the one with the upper hand, and those cards have the potential to bring down everything Kody constructed. Kody Brown, in a dark suit that doesn't quite hang correctly, sits at the defense table. His jaw is clenched, his eyes switching back and forth between Christine and the judge, like a man trapped in his own house. Next to him, Robyn grips a tissue, mumbling prayers in her head. Meri and Janelle look on from the audience, two women who know this tale far too well but never dreamed it would come to this point. The judge clears his throat, inviting Christine to speak. She is calm, her voice ringing across the courtroom. His documents, she holds up the stack high for everyone to see, are financial records that show years of secret transactions, money moved, assets masquerading as something else, and investments that never happened, all traceable back to Kody, all worth $67 million. Gasps circulate through the room. Reporters lean forward, scribbling furiously. Even the bailiff's face sets. Sometimes the biggest betrayals don't happen in the shadows. They happen in plain sight, and no one dares to call them out until it's too late. Christine describes how it started. Small at first, funds going missing from joint accounts, vows of buying land that never came to fruition, investments in businesses that vanished into thin air. She remembers late nights when Kody would dismiss questions, telling her it was for the family's future or part of a larger plan. She wanted to believe him at the time. She wanted to trust the man who promised her stability in a life that tended to be unstable. But as the years went by, the math didn't check out. Christine started taking notes, files, and eventually transaction copies. She didn't accuse him outright. Rather, she patiently constructed a trail. And that trail in small pieces ended up here, before a judge who would determine if Kody's empire had been constructed on deceit. Your mind's eye camera goes to Kody, his face burning with rage. He bangs his hand on the table, making Robyn jump. This is a lie, he spits, his voice ringing out in the room. Christine is resentful. She walked away and now she wants to bring me down. This is not real. But the judge isn't moved by emotion. He urges Christine on. She lays out another document, a contract signed in Kody's own signature. This, she says, her voice cutting, is evidence of one of the shell companies he established. Money was channeled here, secret from us, secret from the IRS, and that just begins. A murmur runs through the gallery. Janelle glances down at her hands, her face etched white. Meri clamps her lips tight, holding back tears. It's like watching every suspicion, every second they questioned his tales, be verified in real time. Think about finding the person you most trusted had been constructing an empire of deceit in front of you. Would you remain silent, or would you risk it all to bring them down? Christine's voice breaks slightly, as she remembers one evening in particular. She is sitting at the kitchen table, papers strewn in front of her, and she realizes that millions had disappeared. That was the moment, she whispers, I knew I couldn't remain silent any longer. Because if he could do this to us, what else was he capable of? The judge leans forward, drumming his pen on the bench. Mrs. Brown, he says, are you telling me this was a fraud that went on for years and numerous accounts? Christine nods. Yes, Your Honor. 17 years, 23 accounts, at least 4 bogus business ventures. The room erupts in whispers. Kody bangs his fist once more, yelling, she's twisting everything. The judge promptly cautions him to rein in his outburst, But the damage has been done. Kody's facade of serene control has cracked, and the jury witnesses it. Reporters outside are already crafting headlines. Cameras flash through the courtroom windows. To the world, this isn't just a trial. It's the fall of a man who once demanded respect as a husband and father of 18. Christine lays down the last page, her hands shaking. I did not want this, she confesses, her voice cracking. But I could not allow the truth to remain hidden. Not when so many lives were ruined along the way. Secrecy can tear families apart, but when betrayal and money intersect, it can reveal who is really in charge. The judge takes the papers, studying them with a furrowed brow. He doesn't announce his thoughts yet, but the weight of Christine's testimony lingers like smoke in the air. Everyone knows the story isn't over. It's only beginning. As the day's session comes to a close, Christine picks up her belongings. She does not glance at Kody, not even once. Robyn stands sobbing now, holding onto his arm. Meri and Janelle exit slowly, sharing a look that conveys what words cannot. The man they had once shared has just been revealed in the worst light imaginable. But when Christine steps out into the courthouse doors, a reporter calls out with a question that causes her to stop. Mrs. Brown, if this is $67 million in fraud, who else was involved? Christine stiffens, her back to the cameras. Gradually she turns her head, a look of unreadability on her face, and with that the screen goes black. Because sometimes the most treacherous part of a scandal isn't the first bombshell, it's the next name on the list. The next morning, the courthouse steps are filled with reporters, cameras flashing like lightning. The news is already sweeping the nation. Christine Brown reveals $67 million scandal. Folks who used to view the Browns as just another family on TLC are now hailing it as the largest reality TV hoax case ever. But what everyone doesn't know yet is that Christine's proof could not only bring Kody down, it could pull other wives, close friends, and even their kids into the maelstrom. And now, today, that storm is ready to unleash. Within the courtroom, the atmosphere is different, tighter, heavier. Everyone senses it. The walls close in on you, the air thick with the load of whispers and glances. Kody sits with his head down, but his leg bounces up and down under the table. A man attempting to look calm while everything he has worked for starts to fall apart. Robyn speaks urgently in his ear, her hands tightening on his arm, as if she's grasping the last speck of stability remaining in her universe. Christine enters with the same pile of papers, but with squared shoulders and harder eyes this time. She understands what's at hand, as does the judge. Today's no longer going to be about little details. Today is about names, dates, and links. The judge coughs, wrapping his hand on the bench. Court is in session. Mrs. Brown, you can proceed with your testimony. Christine inclines her head, moves to the witness stand, and retrieves a folder plumper than yesterday's. She sets it down softly on the stand, like a sword preparing to be drawn. The first page she turns to isn't a contract, it's a list of names. Kody did not do this by himself, she states, her own voice quiet, but her words slicing through the room like a knife. This was a years-long scam, involving several individuals, and I can show you who assisted him. The gallery bursts, whispers, gasps, the noise of pens scratching furiously. Janelle goes white. Meri sits as if she's going to get up, but holds onto the bench for support. Robyn emits a harsh sob, both hands clamped over her mouth. Because sometimes the hardest truth isn't that someone has lied. It's seeing how many people assisted in keeping the lie alive. Christine holds the page aloft. Here are the people who knowingly executed false documents, opened accounts, and transferred funds. They might not have known the full extent, but they were a part of it. The judge leans forward. Names, Mrs. Brown, read them. Her lips open, and time stands still for an instant. They all lean forward, expecting she utters the first name, the second, the third. Each of them slices the air like a sledgehammer and rings out in the courtroom. And then, she names someone they didn't see coming. Meri Brown. The room erupts, gasps, shouts, even the judge thunders his gavel to restore order. Meri sits immobilized, her face pale, her eyes wide. That isn't true, she finally screams, her voice trembling. I didn't know. I believed it was real. I believed it was for the family. Christine regards her, her face gentle but unyielding. You signed the papers. Meri, you signed them. Meri covers her face, crying, tears running down her cheeks, her shoulders shaking. The gallery is silent in shock. For so long Meri has been the quiet loyal one, the first wife who held on, even when her heart was shattering. But now she stands accused of being involved with something far more sinister. Kody takes advantage, banging his palms on the table. See? It wasn't me alone. Christine is trying to turn me into the bad guy. But we all made the decisions together. She's just upset because she quit. His anger overflows like acid, cracking his voice. The judge holds up a hand, stopping him. Mr. Brown, you will have your turn. This is currently Mrs. Brown's testimony. When walls of denial begin to break, even the loudest voices of defense ring as desperate echoes. Christine continues. She explains how signatures from multiple wives were used on property deals, business accounts, and family trust documents. She pulls out scans of paperwork with signatures that match perfectly. Meri's, Janelle's, even Robyn's. But she clarifies, I don't believe they all knew the full truth. But they were used, and some of them turned a blind eye. Robyn shakes her head wildly, muttering no no no, repeatedly, as if repetition alone could cover up the evidence. Janelle sits rigid, lips pursed tight, her silence more eloquent than words. The judge reads through the papers, his expression neutral. He looks up. Mrs. Brown, are you proposing a conspiracy between several family members? Christine's reply is chilling. I'm saying Kody orchestrated it. But he didn't do it alone. And some of the people in this very room were part of it. The gallery hums like a hive. Reporters dash out of the courtroom to beat the story. All cameras focus on Kody, face twisted with anger. Then Christine, calm and defiant, who appears to be the only one in charge. For once you know the truth is larger than any individual. You know the fallout will catch everyone. Meri's sobs echo as she hides her face in her hands. Robyn whispers desperately to Kody, who now sits stone-faced, his eyes fixed on Christine with a hatred that feels heavy enough to break glass. The judge at last requests a recess. The gavel bangs, but the sound does not shatter the tension. It only intensifies it. Everyone stands, but nobody leaves their place. The courtroom stands still for a few seconds, wedged in the massive weight of what has passed. Christine picks up her papers, but she can't make a move when Meri rises to her feet, her voice shaking but firm enough for everyone to hear. Christine, you don't get it. I didn't realize it was a fraud. I thought I was doing it to help our family survive. Christine hesitates at the door, her back to Meri. She doesn't respond. She doesn't have to. The silence says everything. And as the doors close behind her, the camera of your imagination lingers on Meri, her body shaking, her life unraveling. But deep down, everyone knows, if Meri's name is on that list, who else might be next? Because the scariest part of a scandal isn't the names already revealed. It's the ones still waiting to be spoken. The third day of the trial feels heavier than the first two. Outside the courthouse, demonstrators congregate with placards reading "Justice for Christine" and "Kody lied to all of us." TV news vans cluster along the street, antennas pointed upwards like sentinel eyes. Inside, tension crackles through the kind of silence that is anything but quiet. It throbs with energy, anticipating something catastrophic to erupt. And today, it does. Because if Christine's proof was sufficient to rock the ground, what is about to happen here will risk reducing the whole house to ashes. The judge bangs his gavel, calling the courtroom to order. Christine returns, her folder heavier than last time. The papers weigh heavy within it now, each page a fragment of the family's secret truth. She is serene, but her eyes betray the burden of memories no one else can ever comprehend. On the defensive side, Kody stares rigidly, his jaw clenched so tightly the muscle in his cheek works. Robyn leans into him, whispering, but he doesn't react. His fingers press against the edge of the table, as if releasing it would be to forfeit everything. Christine clears her throat, her tone firm. Yesterday I exposed signatures, but today, I'm going to reveal the transaction. The money trail that shows this fraud wasn't slop on paperwork. It was intentional, planned, done. The courtroom leans in, as she clicks a small remote control. On the screen behind her, a projection appears, bank statements, transfers and account numbers pulsating like a crime map. There were 23 accounts, she starts, but only 3 are most important, because those 3 carry most of the lost $67 million. Gasps travel around the room. One account appears to be magnified on the screen, in red. Christine's voice becomes more acidic. This one is owned by a company named Unity Investments. In theory, it was to keep the family's property in Coyote Pass. In fact, it was a shell account. Millions of dollars poured in, and no property bought. And here, she points at the screen, is the name on the secondary account holder. The screen flashes, and there it is, Janelle Brown. Because the truth doesn't just hurt. It breaks trust when it comes from the one you never saw coming. Janelle's face pales. Her mouth opens, but she makes no sound. She glances down at her lap, then at the judge, then at Christine. At last, she finds her voice, which trembles. That can't be. I had no idea. Kody said it was for the land. He said it was for our future. Christine regards her, pain flashing on her face. You helped him, Janelle. Perhaps unconsciously, but you did. The gallery is frozen in shock. Even the reporters suspend their note-taking, their pens suspended in midair. Kody takes advantage of the moment like a drowning man, grasping for a lifeline. He bangs his hand on the table, yelling, "See? She's bringing everyone down with her deceptions. This isn't about fraud. It's about revenge." The judge raises his gavel, bringing it down with a single whack. "Mr. Brown, enough. Mrs. Brown, please proceed." Christine takes a deep breath, turning to another page. "This second account," she continues, her voice softer now, but with a greater menace, "was connected to credit cards in Robyn Brown's name. Hundreds of thousands spent on purchases, travel, and transfers that do not align with family income. This was not survival. This was extravagance." Your mind camera lingers over Robyn, her mascara running down her face, her shaking hands. "That's not true," she wails. "Kody said it was okay. Kody said the money was ours, for the children, for us to have in the future. I didn't know." Her voice echoes, shaking, but Christine's testimony is cold, unyielding. She presents another phrase, the figures blazing on the screen. $1.2 million wired in 1 year. "Robyn, these are your accounts." Robyn collapses, weeping openly, hiding her face in her hands. Kody puts an arm around her, glaring at Christine, with a stare that could kill. But the ugliest truth is this. Tears can secure sympathy, but they cannot remove ink from a signed affidavit. The judge reads the screen, his forehead creased. The jury makes notes, their faces contorted with shock, outrage, and incredulity. The room seems to slant, the ground under everything the Browns have constructed crumbling beneath the sheer magnitude of figures nobody can argue away. Janelle mutters something under her breath, below the microphone's range, but Christine catches it. For an instant their eyes lock with a long history of mutual pain, disappointment, and betrayal. Janelle gives a slow shake of the head, silently mouthing, "I trusted him." Christine turns aside, clenching her jaw. She presses on with her testimony, but her voice becomes more subdued. "I don't think that all of them knew the full extent. But whatever they did or didn't know, it doesn't alter what happened. Money was taken. Lies were spoken. Families were broken." The judge slowly nods, then speaks to the court. This is no longer merely Mr. Brown's case. It now encompasses allegations of larger family involvement. We will move cautiously, but these new revelations cannot be dismissed. The gallery groans once more, louder this time. Some head shake in shock. Others whisper, "They were all involved." Reporters scurry out, anxious to have the update on live reports. Because scandals don't destroy one person in isolation. They knock down all those surrounding the truth. The judge requests a brief recess, his gavel ringing out once more. Individuals stand, abuzz with shock. Christine gathers her document, her hands shaking a little now. Despite her calm, the price of telling these truths stands in her face. Kody, meanwhile, leans close to Robyn and whispers fiercely. No one can hear his words, but his expression is enough. Dark, furious, vengeful. His eyes dart toward Christine, burning with rage that promises retaliation. As the courtroom clears, Janelle sits, rooted in position. Her skin is white, her fingers trembling, her eyes glaze with betrayal. Christine pauses on passing, placing a hand upon the back of Janelle's bench. For an instant their past years of tears, agony and sisterhood, lingers between them. Then Christine departs, and Janelle is left with the burden of her decision. But just as the cameras are about to cut, a new player arrives on the scene. A man in a sharp suit, with a black briefcase. He walks up to the prosecution table, greeting Christine. The prosecutor stands up, shaking the man's hand. The judge looks over, raising a brow. "And who are you?" The man places the briefcase on the table. His tone smooth and assured. Special Agent Collins, FBI Financial Crimes Division. We've been investigating this case, Your Honor. And I think Mrs. Brown's testimony is related to a federal investigation already underway. Gasps, shock. A new tempest brewing. Because just when you've thought a family's deepest secrets have been exposed, sometimes the government comes along to tell you you've only scratched the surface. The fourth day is different. The courtroom doesn't hum. It shudders with expectation. Yesterday concluded on a bombshell. An FBI agent intervening, announcing the case larger than anybody ever thought it was. Today murmurs spread like wildfire through the crowd. This is no longer a family embarrassment. It's a federal case, and the stakes have shot through the roof. If Christine's proof could rattle the Brown family, what the FBI is about to show may bury them. Reporters fill the back rows, holding microphones against their legs. People around the nation watch at home, eagerly awaiting each and every moment of this true crime meets reality show. And as the judge sits down, slamming the gavel once, the silence is oppressive. Everyone is aware that today will alter it all. Christine sits once more, her eyes serene but weighted. She's no longer merely testifying against Kody. Now she's a part of something much larger. Throughout the courtroom, Kody's face is white, jaw tight, but his eyes smolder with the hot energy of a man who senses the walls coming in. Robyn clings to his hand, mumbling desperate prayers under her breath. Janelle and Meri sit separately, both reeling from yesterday's exposure, both uncertain where their allegiance must be placed. The FBI agent, Collins, opens his briefcase with a slow, measured movement. He pulls out a thick binder, the kind that looks like it carries decades of secrets. He places it on the table, the thud echoing through the courtroom. Your Honor, he begins, his voice calm but sharp. What Mrs. Brown has shown is only the tip of the iceberg. We've traced these transactions across state lines, through offshore accounts, and into fraudulent companies. This isn't a family squabble. It's federal fraud and money laundering. The courtroom gasps. Christine's eyes flutter closed for a split second, as if she knew this, but the sting of hearing it stated out loud still hurts. Because sometimes the most deadly truth isn't the one you dreaded. It's the one that blindsided you. Collins presses a remote and a fresh set of projections appears on the screen. Charts, bank trails, arrows linking names, accounts and companies on the map. This, he says, is the complete picture. $67 million wasn't merely concealed, it was shifted, laundered, obfuscated. And Mr. Brown was right in the middle of it. The lens of your mind pivots to Kody. His face contorts in anger. His fists are clenched. His body angles forward as if he could jump from his chair. He bellows, his voice cracking with rage. All lies. This is all lies. You think Christine is a saint? She despised polygamy. She left because she's bitter. And now you're allowing her to ruin me. The judge slams the gavel, his voice booming. Mr. Brown, sit down. One more outburst, and you'll be held in contempt. But Kody doesn't sit. He stands, his voice rising. You don't understand. They were all in on it. Meri signed, Janelle signed, Robyn signed. And Christine? She's the one who collected the money. She's no hero. She's just as guilty as the rest of us. The courtroom erupts into pandemonium. Meri buries her face, shaking her head in horror. Janelle mutters, "No, no," under her breath, tears falling down her face. Robyn holds onto Kody's arm, pleading with him to sit. She stands firm, her face colorless, but her demeanor unwavering. Because the voice that screams the loudest in a room isn't always the voice that speaks the truth. It's the one that most desperately tries to silence it. The judge instructs the bailiff to restore order, but the damage is done. The jury has witnessed Kody out of control, naked, desperate. Collins doesn't blink. He tugs at his tie, then opens the binder to a particular page. Mr. Brown, he says in an even tone, we don't just rely on testimony. We rely on numbers. And the numbers don't lie. He holds up a sheet. Here's a wire transfer of $5 million from Unity Investments to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. The signature authorizing it. He pauses, then drops the words like a bomb. Kody W. Brown. The room stops breathing. All eyes are on Kody. His lips purse, but no sound emerges. He slumps back in his chair, his face white as a sheet. Robyn holds him closer, hearsing, it's okay, but her eyes betray the reality. It's not okay. It never will be okay again. Christine's voice shatters the silence. I didn't want this to be the truth, but it is. And lying about it doesn't make it any different. Collins nods. Another page turned. And this isn't even all. The scam goes beyond the money. Bogus deeds, faked partnerships, even properties in several states registered under fictitious LLCs. This wasn't a single mistake. It was years of intentional misrepresentation. And here's the toughest part. When lying crosses a decade, it's no longer a mistake. It becomes who someone is. The judge sighs, massaging his temples. This is unprecedented, he grumbles, before steadying himself. We will reconvene after recess to decide how these federal charges impinge on this court's jurisdiction. The gavel bangs, which means the break, but the tension does not dissipate. It intensifies instead. The gallery erupts into murmurs. Reporters run outside. Cameras click from behind the glass. Within, Christine collects her documents in shaking hands. She does not glance at Kody. She does not glance at Meri, Janelle, or Robyn. Her face is white, tired, but determined. She knows she has just ignited a bomb that will alter their lives forever. Across the room, Kody cocks his head forward. His voice a low hiss that is addressed to Robyn alone. If I fall, they're all coming with me. All of them. Robyn's eyes go wide. Kody, please, she whispers, her voice shaking. This isn't the way. But Kody doesn't desist. His eyes blaze with anger as he glares across the courtroom, settling on Christine. His lips twist into something approaching a sneer and a smile. And in that terrifying instant, it's revealed Kody isn't waging war for freedom. He's waging war for revenge. Because when a man has nothing left to lose, the deadliest thing he can bring with him to war is fury. The fifth day doesn't start in court. It starts in the parking lot. Under the bright lights of blinding cameras, reporters descend like bees, microphones pushed into their faces, questions bellowed from all sides. Christine, did you have any idea it was this large? Kody, do you go to jail? Meri, were you a participant? The Browns aren't even able to exit their vehicles without being besieged by the global audience. And here's the reality, this is no longer a trial. This is a spectacle. A storm that's spiraling wildly out of control. What started as Christine's battle for truth has become America's latest fixation. The sister wives scandal isn't appearing just on primetime news. It's trending, analyzed, and discussed in living rooms, coffee houses, and internet forums nationwide. By the time they reach the courthouse, the family is already divided. Christine walks independently, documents in hand like a shield. Meri and Janelle walk side by side, whispering to one another, their faces white with anxiety. Kody charges ahead. Robyn behind him, both refusing to respond to the shouted reporters. Inside, tension crackles. The jury returns, faces stern, as Judge Harrison comes back onto the bench. He does not dawdle. This court has been presented with new evidence, he declares, his voice unyielding, and I will permit it to be heard. But let me make one thing absolutely clear. Order must be kept. We will not have a second outburst, such as we had yesterday. All eyes are on Kody. He squirms in his seat, clenching his jaw, but remains silent. His silence is thicker than words, because sometimes quiet is louder than screaming. It's the noise of someone thinking about what they'll do next. Christine stands again, but this time she's not the center of attention. Agent Collins rises, opening the binder of evidence again. His voice is even, detached. Yesterday we demonstrated the money trail. Today we'll demonstrate how it touched every family member, direct or indirect. The words strike like a shockwave. Gasps rip through the gallery. Christine's head jerks around to him, her eyes bulging. Wait, she whispers. Each family member. Collins nods. He indicates the screen where new documents pop up. Deeds, contracts, wire transfers. Meri Brown signed a deed conveying property into one of the shell companies. Janelle Brown maintained a bank account that was linked to Unity Investments. Robyn Brown was paid money, later deposited into offshore accounts. And Christine, he pauses, his eyes firm, collected payments for the LLCs on her own handwriting. The courtroom breaks out again. The judge pounds his gavel wildly. Order, order. Christine is fixed on the screen with horror. No, she whispers, shaking her head. That's not, I didn't know. I thought. Janelle's face contorts. I only did what Kody instructed me to. I never knew it was fraud. Meri covers her mouth, shaking. Robyn has a grip on Kody's arm, but he rips it free, his eyes flashing. See? He bellows. I said so. They're all guilty, not only me. The words hang there, toxic and heavy. Christine white-knuckles the edge of the witness stand. For the first time she feels the cutting sting of doubt in the jury member's eyes. Because the truth doesn't just cut one way, it slices everyone who's ever touched it. Collins raises his hand for quiet. Let me be clear. Intent counts. Some signatures perhaps were coerced, some accounts abused without complicity. But the paper trail anchors every Brown wife in this web, willingly or not. The judge leans forward, steepling his fingers. So what you're saying is this court must now consider whether Mrs. Christine Brown herself could face charges. The air freezes. Christine's heart slams in her chest. She turns, locking eyes with Kody. He's smiling, not a warm smile, but a cold, triumphant one. For the first time in this trial, he looks like a man who thinks he's winning. And nothing is more frightening than when a guilty man begins to think he's innocent. Christine speaks through her forced will, her voice shaking but resolute. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I thought I was helping keep our family together. I thought I was supporting the dream. Her words are answered by silence. The jury gazes at her, inscrutable. The judge writes furiously in his notebook. Collins slowly closes his binder, as if what he has just disclosed even shakes him. Then the judge strikes. This court will recess for the day. Tomorrow we will consider whether charges can extend to other parties beyond Mr. Brown. Until then, this case remains under consideration. The gavel crackles. The reporters explode as the family files out. Christine does not walk this time. She stumbles, Janelle grasping her arm to support her. Meri lingers behind, silent tears streaming down her face. Robyn hurries to Kody's side, but he brushes her away, marching ahead with head held high. For once he resembles the man in charge. Outside, the media storm erupts. Christine, are you going to prison? Did you know you were involved in the fraud? Kody, how are you feeling now? The yells are deafening. Christine covers her face, unable to respond. Back in the darkened hallways of the courthouse, Kody takes out his phone. His fingers shake, but not from fear, from anger and resolve. He calls a number, speaks in a low, urgent tone. It's time. They're not going to make me take the fall for all this. Prepare it for tomorrow. He hangs up, his expression twisted in something sinister, something deadly. Because when a man cornered learns one escape, the entire world better look out for what he will do next. Christine, Janelle and Meri ride together in Christine's car that night. For the first time, Christine's facade cracks. What if I go to jail? She whispers. The car goes silent. And from outside, the flash from a camera blinds them through the window. Proof that even in their darkest moment, the world is watching. The day starts not in the courthouse, but on every television set in America. News anchor faces are set with serious expressions as they break the latest bombshell. Last night, new charges surfaced against Christine Brown. Accusations that she willfully signed papers linked to falsified transfers. The photo cuts to Christine's smiling face of years gone by, alongside the stark stamped words, "Under investigation." It's the kind of split screen that destroys reputations before a jury ever decides. And the timing? Too perfect, too precise, almost as if someone wanted the world to believe Christine was guilty before she ever took the stand again. As soon as Christine turns on her phone, there's a storm of notifications, strangers reaching out to call her a liar. Reporters seeking answers, even family members who don't know what to think. She clutches the phone in her shaking hands and mutters, "He did this. Kody did this." And she's telling the truth. Because last night, after that hushed call in the courthouse, Kody acted. He didn't wait for the trial to run its course. He leaked documents, ancient papers Christine once signed blindly, twisting them into evidence she was involved in the fraud. It's a cynical move, and it succeeds. Overnight, the story changed. Kody isn't just the bad guy anymore. Christine is on trial in the court of public opinion. And sometimes the trial outside the courtroom is even more fatal than the one in. Within the courthouse, Christine's eyes are red-rimmed, her footsteps unsteady. Janelle accompanies her, softly saying, "Hold on, we know the truth." But Christine does not respond, because for the first time she feels the weight of the world questioning her. The gallery erupts when Judge Harrison sits down. This court will reconvene. His voice cuts through the clamor. Before we continue, I have to deal with the charges made in the media last night. Christine's stomach lurches. She glances at her attorney, who jumps up. Your Honor, these leaks are prejudicial. Obviously intended to influence the jury. But Kody's attorney is equally quick, his lips curled in a smirk. With all due respect, Your Honor, the public is entitled to the truth. Mrs. Brown's part in this fraud cannot be concealed, because it's an inconvenience. The judge bangs his gavel. Enough. This courtroom will not be used as a circuit. We will hear only admissible evidence laid before us. But it's too late. The jury glances over at Christine, some colder, some harder. She senses it. She knows it. Because once suspicion is planted, it's nearly impossible to uproot. Kody slumps in his chair, arms crossed, face smug. For the first time since trial started, he looks relaxed, even assured. Robyn tries to catch his hand beneath the table, but he doesn't grasp it. His eyes remain fixed on Christine, defying her to retaliate. The prosecution struggles to get back on top. Agent Collins stands up, frustration clear on his face. Your Honor, this leak did not come from my office. We were going to introduce Christine's documents today, but in context, the way they've been presented in public is misleading. Christine stands, her voice cracking. I didn't understand what those papers were about. I trusted him. He said I was serving the family. Her voice rings out across the room. The gallery stirs. For an instant, tension is redirected. People notice her desperation, her pain. But Kody intervened. His voice so calm, so measured, so venomous. She always knew. Every single one of them knew. They're only turning on me now because they got caught. It's a knife to the heart. Christine pushes back into her chair, putting her hands over her face. Janelle wraps her arm around her, glaring at Kody. Meri sits stiff, quietly, but her eyes brim with unshed tears. Because betrayal never always comes as a shout. Sometimes it comes in a whisper spoken too softly. The judge orders a recess, but the courtroom doesn't settle. News reporters dash out to present their updates, and the Browns make a hasty exit into the hall. Christine sinks against the wall, muttering, "He's killing me." Janelle falls to her knees beside her. Then we battle harder. We don't let him have his way. But Christine shakes her head. You don't understand. If he keeps spinning this, they'll turn on us all. We'll all go down with him. That's when Meri finally says something, her voice husky but intense. Then perhaps it's time we don't wait for the court to rescue us. Perhaps it's time we rescue ourselves. Christine looks up, startled. Meri's eyes are sharper than they've ever been. And in that moment, Christine sees it. Meri isn't broken. She isn't afraid. She's angry, and anger, in the right hands, is more dangerous than any leak. Because when someone who's been quiet too long finally decides to speak, the whole story changes. The three women crouch together, their words breathed low but urgent. We have an idea where he stored the backups, Meri says. The storage facility, the one in Flagstaff. If the court won't listen to us, maybe they'll listen to that. Janelle gasps. You think it'll be there? Christine blinks back, tears, determination flashing in her terror. It has to be. It's our only hope. Down the hall, Kody observes them with narrowed eyes. He doesn't catch the words, but he notices the change. He notices the flash of defiance in Christine's stance, the way Meri and Janelle close ranks around her. And for the first time in days, his smirk is gone, because he knows something he never wanted to know. When the women stand together, he can't control them. The gavel rings out again, summoning everyone back into the building. But Christine no longer feels defeated. She feels something new. Something perilous. Hope. She sits down, lifting her chin high. For the first time since the scandal erupted, she looks straight at Kody with no fear. And he senses it. The judge speaks up. Court is back in session. But the true battle, the true evidence, that waits outside these courtroom walls. And sometimes the truth doesn't need permission. It needs courage. That evening, in the darkness, Christine, Meri, and Janelle drive through Flagstaff's vacant streets. Their headlights slice across the desert highway, illuminating the far-off shape of the storage facility. Christine's grip on the steering wheel tightens. If what we discover in there is real, she breathes, then tomorrow everything changes. The desert is quiet at night. Too quiet. The sort of quiet that makes any noise sound louder, crisper. The crunch of gravel beneath tires, the groan of a car door creaking open, the rapid breath of a person who knows they are about to do something reckless. Christine, Meri, and Janelle huddle in the darkness of the storage warehouse, the biting cold nipping at their flesh, their bodies charged with terror and resolve. This isn't an investigation. It's a risk. If they don't find anything, Christine's career is ruined. If they get caught, they might be charged too. But if they're correct, if the evidence is indeed here, then tomorrow will turn everything around. Christine clamps the flashlight tighter, her voice shaking. After we open that door, there's no turning back. Meri advances, her jaw set. Then let's not waste time. We've already given him enough. And with that, the lock snaps open. Because sometimes the truth isn't revealed in a courtroom. It's buried in the shadows, waiting to be discovered. The metal door creaks as it rolls open, the sound echoing through the vacant rows of units. Dust lingers in the air, sticking to the beam of the flashlight as they enter. It appears normal at first. Cardboard boxes stacked high, furniture shrouded in sheets, miscellaneous household items crammed into corners. But Christine is smarter. She reads the labels, her heart beating fast. Unity LLC, Family Trust, Brown Properties. She touches the boxes, her voice cracking. These are his. These are the records. Janelle breaks forward, ripping open the closest box. Within are binders, leather-bound, fat binders, full of contracts, receipts and bank statements. She riffles through one, her fingers shaking. This is it all. Years worth of dealing, offshore accounts, payments to Shell Corporation. Christine, this is the proof of it all. Christine grasps the binder, her gaze darting across page after page. Her breath hitches on a signature she knows, her own. He used me. Again and again. He said these were tax returns, family trust documents, legal documents for the show. Her sobs fall across the pages, smearing the ink. All along, I thought I was assisting. I was assisting him to steal. Meri Kody crouches in the corner, opening another box. She raises the lid and stops. Oh my God. Inside are piles of checks, unsigned, uncashed, made out to the wives, diverted into Unity investments. He stole our money, every dime we thought was our money. The heaviness of the betrayal crashes into the room, more than the dust, more than the night. Christine falls to her knees, the binder still clutched to her chest. Janelle walks back and forth, her voice shattering into rage. We were never his partners, we were his cover, his shields, his pawns. For betrayal isn't only when someone lies, it's when they make you an extension of the lie, and you don't even know it. Meri's hands tremble as she draws out another file. Look at this. Letters appointing Robyn sole beneficiary on the family trust. He was arranging for her to inherit the lot. The lot we built. The lot we thought was ours. Christine's face jerks up, venom piercing her grief. That's why he left me. That's why he wed her. It was never love. It was always about money. The air gets colder. The truth isn't freeing. It's choking. They can see it now. In black and white. Kody's master plan. The scam wasn't about money. It was about control, power, manipulation so insidious, it coiled around all of them, strangling them without them even knowing. Janelle bangs the binder closed, her face set hard. We go in front of the judge tomorrow. We put an end to it once and for all. But Meri hesitates. She looks toward the doorway, her voice low. You don't think he knows we're here? Christine freezes. Her flashlight flickers. The silence outside feels too thick, too heavy. Then footsteps, slow, steady, coming closer. Her heart stops. Someone's out there. The three women extinguish their lights, huddling against the clammy metal walls. Footsteps approach, the crunch of gravel filling the darkness. A shadow falls across the doorframe. Janelle's breath catches. Meri clutches her arm. Christine shuts her eyes, holding the binder close. The shadow remains stationary. Then unexpectedly, the footsteps recede. The crunch of gravel disappears. The night devours the sound. The women stay frozen for what feels like forever. Finally Christine whispers, "It could have been anyone, right?" But in her gut she knows better. Because when you're this close to the truth, the person who has the most to lose always shows up first. They gather the most damning evidence. Binders, folders, stacks of checks, shoving them into bags. Their hands are frantic. Their movements rushed, as if every second could be their last. Christine's tears blur her vision, but she doesn't stop. Janelle's anger fuels her speed, while Meri's determination keeps them focused. And at last, they slam the storage unit shut, lock it, and dash back to the car. Their breathing is rough gasp, their bodies shaking with adrenaline. As Christine revs up the engine, her headlights rake the road. For an instant they shine on a figure standing in the distance. A man spying. And though they can't quite see his face, they know precisely who it is. Kody. The headlights flash off, as Christine peels away, her fists white-knuckling the wheel. No words are spoken. The hush inside the car is more deafening than screams. In his own car now, Kody redials his phone, his tone low and toxic. They've located it. Destroy it by morning. The air in the room crackled, humming with an expectation so dense it was like a storm waiting to break. Cameras were rolling. Reporters held pens, their eyes flicking between Christine's firm stance, Kody's quivering hands, and the judge's glacial gaze. Everyone understood this was it. The moment the years of secrets, betrayals, and scandals would finally converge in one explosive verdict. Christine's evidence had already drawn a damning portrait. But one thing remained. Would the court formally find Kody Brown guilty of masterminding the $67 million fraud scandal? And more importantly, what would happen to the sister wives' family once justice was etched in stone? Stick with me, because this isn't a verdict. This is the moment that will seal the Browns' legacy forever. So, before we get into it, tell me, do you believe Kody deserves justice or forgiveness? Leave your answer in the comments. The quiet within the courtroom was oppressive. Each rustle of paper, each cough, even the gentle hum of fluorescent lights, was amplified. The judge's gavel lay gently upon the bench as he surveyed the courtroom, his eyes darting from Christine's steady figure to Kody's fraying dignity. Christine sat upright, shoulders squared, hands placed tightly on the table in front of her. Smugness, arrogance, there was none. Only determination. For years she had been silent. For years she had been told she was bitter, dramatic, someone who couldn't handle plural marriage. But today the power of $67 million worth of evidence lent her voice authority. Kody, on the other hand, was the embodiment of meltdown. His tie was unknotted, his neatly styled hair slick with perspiration. He continued to mutter to Robyn, who had hold of his arm, speaking breathless threats that seemed to land in the middle of the room. His eyes roamed the room for sympathy, finding none. And here's your retention booster. What would you do if your whole life, family, reputation, wealth, would be determined in one sentence? The judge cleared his throat, and every eye turned forward. Before I make my decision, he started, Mrs. Christine Brown, you've asked for a last statement. Go ahead. Christine stood, her hands flat on the highly polished wood of the table. The air grew thin as her voice resonated in the courtroom. For years, she declared, her voice hard but level, we were instructed to have faith in the family dream, that this was a matter of unity, of faith, of creating something greater than ourselves. But in private, that dream was a sham. It was a business plan, a fraud. And every one of us sitting here, myself, Meri, Janelle, paid the price. Kody didn't just betray us as wives. He betrayed us as women, as mothers, as partners who trusted him. And the evidence, as you've all seen, proves it wasn't just about broken hearts. It was about money. A staggering, devastating amount of money. Her words seemed to linger in the air. Some of the onlookers rubbed their eyes. Others gazed in numbing shock. Even the judge rocked forward in his seat, plainly shaken by the plain speaking in Christine's tone. Then, like a man desperate for straws, Kody stood up. His voice broke as he addressed the judge. This isn't who I am, he begged. I made errors, yes, but this account is distorted. Christine is resentful. She wants to ruin me. Every action I took, for my wives, for my kids, was to shield them, to provide for them, to give them a future. How can that be fraud? How can a man's efforts to provide be distorted into a crime? But his words rang false, bordering on rehearsed. Christine's testimony had drained his credibility. Each ledger, each text, each signed document whispered a single inescapable truth. Kody had exploited the sister wives' fantasy to fill his pocket. And this is where you lean in. Can you pick the desperation from Kody's voice? Can you sense the walls closing in around him? The judge's gavel came down once, quieting the room. He leaned forward, his voice measured but cutting. Mr. Brown, the court has examined the evidence in minute detail. This is not the vengeful testimony of a former wife with a grudge. This is an economic trail, a history of dishonesty, and a breach of financial and marital trust. Christine Brown's evidence is not just persuasive, it is conclusive. Gasps spread through the courtroom. Robyn's hands went to her mouth as she suppressed a sob. Meri and Janelle looked at each other, their faces white but determined. The judge went on. It is the decision of this court that Kody Brown is held liable in the fraud scheme totaling $67 million. The words fell like a thunderclap. The courtroom burst into glee. Journalists grabbed for scribbling. Cameras zoomed in on Christine, who dropped her eyes, not victorious, but softly relieved. Kody slumped into his chair, the color draining from his face, shaking with glee. Robyn clutched him, the tears flowing freely for her. But even she seemed to know the inevitable. The dream they had struggled to keep alive was broken beyond repair. Outside the courthouse, demonstrators and defenders fought. Some cried out that Christine was a hero. Others insisted the Browns were victims of a system bent on punishing polygamy. The media converged, their microphones at the ready to record each raw emotion. Inside, Christine gazed at Janelle and Meri. For the first time in years, the three women wore a look of solidarity. They weren't only survivors, they were vindicated. Now here's the actual question for you. Does this verdict finally equate to justice, or does it represent the tragic demise of a family doomed from the beginning?